Mega Mitch.
Mega bitch.
Mitch, fuck.
It's me. It's Mitch.
It's me.
It's me.
It's a me. Mitch, it's a minute.
It's me.
Mitch.
Fuck. So, hi everyone. You're probably wondering, hey, you fat bastard, why isn't this Final Fantasy X and you're eating like Doritos or Cheetos or something? Like a couple.
I wish.
I know. And,
I have everything. I didn't think I would miss Doritos this much from starting a fucking diet.
Oh, look,
How
man.
dare you bring up Doritos in my presence?
How?
I'm so hungry. You bring up Doritos in my presence? You expect me to starve?
I love the fact that, Amanda, I'm not sure if you understand this entirely, but the way your audio is, it makes it sound like you're saying that as you're eating something. Like it's like that scene in SpongeBob where Patrick eats the chocolate bar, and then he looks at SpongeBob and he's like, "Where did my chocolate bar go? Are you expecting me to starve?
Where did my Doritos go?"
Yes, Mitch. It's almost as if I did that on purpose.
It's not like I did that for comedic effect.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I don't believe it. I blame your horrible Californian rural internet that has ruined my show for 2 years. I was going through footage. I was going through Friday footage because I wanted to make a highlight. I was going through Friday footage because there were so many fun jokes. We can't, obviously, I don't want to upload the whole video onto YouTube, but I wanted to at least get a couple of them put together for a small little, just a small video. We streamed for an hour, and there were so many good One Piece related bits, and going through it
fucking killing it.
and you could just hear Amanda's internet choking her actively, coming out of the screen like a stand, and then just fucking murdering her.
I wish. Then I wouldn't have had to go to work Saturday.
Dude,
I my dumb ass Friday.
I just saved all this shit. I just saved it all, and it's like, oh nah, bruh.
It's fine. It popped on my end. I've got the stream. You're fine.
All right. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Mitch's Making Money. The reason we're not playing Final Fantasy X today is because I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like playing Final Fantasy X today. I didn't grind at all this week. As it does during the magical year that is 2020, we have run into so many problems and so many fucking real life bullshit and so many dumb shit that all I did, I was supposed to grind out in Final Fantasy X to beat Seymour, and then I didn't do it. So that's on me. That's entirely on me. I didn't feel like sitting there and losing to Seymour 20 times in a row, and then to be like, "Haha, your heritage is not included as an American citizen." And I'm like, fuck Seymour, why would you bring that up?
Seymour, what the fuck?
It's you.
Seymour, I knew you were a piece of shit, but come on, man.
Well, his catchphrase is "Your hope ends here."
Oh, good.
Oh yeah. So
where were you a couple months ago, Seymour?
No, I feel like Seymour Nautilus is just hovering above the United States and just shooting down beams of fucking despair.
Your hope ends here.
It's like your hope ends here. Also, American Samoans can serve in the military, but not vote. They're not considered citizens. It's that's a fucked real fact. That's a fucked real fact about my your hope ends here. There's just so much bad shit that happened. Before we even get into the podcast today, before we even talk about the main shit we wanted to talk about, there were so many bad fucking things that happened exclusively this week that this is exhausting. This year has been nothing but bad news for 6 months. For more. We're about to enter our 7th month of bad news. And I don't know how many more times. What's up?
Trump is President Shinra.
God. It's so
feels like it sometimes.
Dude, it's so fucked. It is so fucked, and I'm so sorry everyone who just, who like normal, like, because that's the thing. If you asked us like back in June, even June, when we moved to Twitch, and like we were really optimistic about everything, and like oh man, this is gonna be great, and Twitch has been a wonderful experience. We have had a really great time here. We got our 50 followers. Now we have 55 at the time of this recording, and we're affiliates, and we're like doing all this fun stuff. But sometimes we just need to sit here and we need to fucking scream into the void about all the horrible shit that has happened and all the simultaneously wonderful stuff that we're going through. Because as of like maybe like a month ago now, Nate, you've been reading One Piece, and we're gonna get into that. Or not reading, but you've been watching One Piece on Netflix, and we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about I'm sure our fans are tired of me talking about One Piece, but
fuck them. One Piece is great.
well, I want that to be like on a t-shirt. Like if we ever do merchandise, I want that to be a t-shirt. It just says fuck them, One Piece is great. And it's just a big picture of you with a Luffy hat. A big stupid straw hat.
There's a drawing that I did. There's a scribble somewhere of me with that, just like One Piece and drawing on a shirt as I'm like screaming.
I want you to have taken a marker and like underneath your fucking like left eye. you did, yeah.
I am Monkey D. Luffy, and I will be the Pirate King!
Oh my god. I feel like...
I think I started this week off by fucking talking with Nate and being like, more? Life expects me to live through more! I'm supposed to live this year through more!
God damn it. Dude, it's been so before we moved to Twitch, we'd have Mitch's Minute, and I'd sit here and I'd vent out all the dumb shit that's been going on. Mind you, we're like 7 minutes into today's episode. When today's episode is supposed to be like, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk about Spy X Family. We're gonna talk about fucking One Piece. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Ghost Rider Paradox, I think is the name of the manga. I literally just finished it today. It's only 12 chapters, and it was a piece of shit. And we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about so many fun stuff. Well, before we do that, we have to talk about the fact that there's just every day, I'm sure you guys feel it at home too, but every fucking day, there's a whole nother thing, a whole new layer of shit that we have to fucking go through. Because God fucking forbid that we have any, like, nice things. Every time this year has given us something nice, it has taken away something of substantial value. Fucking...
It's the equivalent exchange, Mitch, I guess.
Oh.
It's some fucking raw dog bullshit. I don't fucking think so.
Dude, like, okay, Chadwick Boseman died this week. Like, fuck.
Yup. It was great scrolling through Twitter and finding that out. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my god, it is...
Another one?
Oh.
Please.
Mitch and I were watching One Piece, and we're both sat there like, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha! I fucking love One Piece! And all of a sudden, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Chad died. And I was like, ha ha ha!
Funny enough, I was just looking at, like, I was scrolling through Twitter looking at One Piece fan art, and that popped up. I'm like, fuck, come on! 2020, stop it!
Oh,
stop, please.
Dude. All right. So, anyways, guys,
I'm sorry. All I could imagine is that 2020 is you are at the top of this ridiculously huge fucking water slide, and the lifeguard is like looking down at you, and fucking you're like, it's too scary. I really don't want to go, but there's a line forming. And he just puts his fucking boot to your face and shoves you down.
So fucking, like, don't be a pussy, do it. And it's like, no! They're just going down the fucking flume of sadness. It's 2020.
The absolute worst part about all of this is it's not like 2019 was the greatest year ever. Like, it's been a while. Anyways, guys, welcome.
It's looking like Jesus' nutsack comparatively to 2020, so fucking who cares?
Welcome Welcome to another episode of Mitch's Makeup Minute. I'm your host, Mitch, and I'm joined today with Nate and Amanda. And as you can clearly tell, it has been a week. It has been not only a week, it has been a year, and I'm sure everyone here feel the exact same fucking thing we feel. And we're gonna try, now that we've rambled a bit and we've had our moment, we're gonna try to balance this back. We're gonna talk about some really fun series that maybe will help alleviate some of these same feelings that hopefully that you know if you guys are going through some shit. And one of the things that I'm genuinely happy about is some of the manga I'm reading and some of the things that I'm checking out. And Nate, you checked out a bunch of series lately. And we're gonna
I've dived down just the rabbit hole of anime because I have spare time because I don't go outside anymore.
That's right.
I just sat there and went, man, I don't know. I didn't read that much manga. And then I sat there going, Amanda, you read all of fucking Demon Slayer in 2 days. And the only reason it took 2 days is because the fucking app limits you to 100 chapters a day.
How many chapters was Demon Slayer before we go into the show?
208.
God damn, okay. So anyways, guys, welcome to another Mitch's Make a Minute. Let's go into the channel news real quick. Oh, there it is. I clicked on the wrong fucking thing. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. All right.
Nice.
I need to update this. I need to update this channel logo. Yeah. So channel news this week.
We'll update it when we got it.
Yeah. So channel news this week. We have pretty much the same as we normally have on the schedule. Persona should be Tuesday and Friday. I should be doing more Ace Attorney with Gang Ludo, depending on how I'm feeling. Admittedly, a lot of us have been sick. There's been a lot of cancellations. There's been a lot of
and apologies for all of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, guys. I do want to extend our apologies as a team. It's been rough. It's been a real rough time lately, and we're doing our best, and we're gonna try to keep giving you guys content, and it's gonna be real positive. We're gonna be real positive about this, including moments in which we'll just stop the stream to talk about if we think Luffy could inhale a bunch of cigarettes and spit it at people.
Yeah, which I like so much.
Yeah. I also theorized that if Usopp really wanted to, he could sharp shoot people's nut sacks if he really truly wanted to.
Oh, I thought you were gonna talk about another theory about Usopp.
Oh,
that you and I have talked about.
Oh,
I still say he would.
The face sitting, yes.
Yeah, if a girl sat on his face, would that work? And then I was like, yeah, but he's gonna fucking waterboard himself and die.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, no, whichever way he puts his face, it's not going to turn out well.
No, it is not. With all that being said, let's go ahead and get into our main topics today. So we're going to go ahead and start off. We're going to go and I'm going to put this in studio mode. So I apologize in advance. We chose very last minute to talk about other things this week. So it's going to take a second for me to get everything kind of set up. But in the meanwhile, we can at least talk a little bit about some of the things that been up to, including Nate and I's decision to try an extreme raid.
Yeah, and no, I have a designated crying spot for when it takes 50 fucking times, because there's only a chance that we're going to get the item that we need. And the only reason we need this item is so I can get a really cool bow.
Well, break it down. What is in the Twitch version of My Cribs? What is fucking in your crying corner?
In my crying corner?
Yeah, what's in your crying corner in this year of our Lord 2020?
Yeah.
It's a lot of soft blankets and pillows and plushes. Because I
feel like a beanbag chair for support, or?
I should invest in a beanbag chair, but I feel like it would be too noisy for sadness.
You should get one of those big Snorlax beanbag chairs, and when you
beanbag chags.
Yeah, I didn't fucking stutter. I didn't fucking
stutter.
I gotta stop.
It's a bear
I gotta stop saying that. I have to stop saying that. It's not very nice.
No. Who cares?
I care. People who stutter care.
That
it could have been like, you dumb bitch. It's a fucking bean bitch egg.
Oh, God. God damn it. Oh. I want it to be one of those beanbag chairs. I almost said it again. Chairs where you sit in it, but then like Snorlax's arms like engulf you in a hug as you sit in it.
They are not as expensive as I thought they were.
Yeah, they're really not. They're really not that expensive. I was actually thinking about grabbing one.
Dude, yeah, I just like I'd collapse into it and just never return, and everyone would just be like, "What happened to Nate?" Like,
I wanted to have like programmed things to say. So like you sit on its belly and then like it acts like one of those like voice recorder boxes. Like when your butt hits it, like it just goes, "Tough day at the office."
That would make me sad, or like just like you're doing a good job and shit. I'd cry.
Like, you just cry and never leave the corner. My recommendation: plan the fucking extreme mode around your cheat day.
It's a good idea, but
plan it specifically when you can eat like the fucking raccoon we are, and fucking put a little microwave in there, a little mini fridge, a beanbag, and just all I want to hear is just.
All right. So
ruffle a bunch of bags together.
The first series, we're gonna save One Piece for the last one, so that if people don't want to hear about One Piece because we keep talking about One Piece, they can head out at the end. But first, we're gonna talk about something I wanted to add ever since I did the first Bitches Minute, where we did a bunch of manga, and that is Spy X Family. Spy X Family is my favorite manga this year.
Dang.
It is.
Oh, you got such a cute image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the best manga this year I've read, and that is hard. That is hard to say because Chainsaw Man that also came out this year. We're going to talk a little bit more about Chainsaw Man because there's been a couple developments that happened in that has made that top tier in my mind.
Yeah, I still need to keep reading, but I've been just watching anime.
And if I had so a good way of putting Spy X Family is it is about a spy who, in order to save the world, he builds kind of this fake family. He adopts a little girl who can read people's minds, and he convinces a very nice woman to become his fake wife so that she can get into a good school and help him with his duties and stuff. And apparently she is an assassin. So it is Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but in manga form, and incredibly charming and 1,000 times better than Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if like they were very cute, blushy individuals who didn't know about each other's like alternate lives.
There was a chapter recently where it was take your child to work day kind of scenario, and
that was so fucking cute. Oh shit! Because he said his cover is that he's a psychologist.
Oh yeah. And
fucking he takes his daughter to work, and it's the cutest shit because all she's thinking is like, this isn't his real job. When's he gonna kill someone?
Aw. Just death, Papa.
Yor, who is the person who has to pretend to be his wife, like goes through the scenario in her head, and she's like, it's take your child to work day. Take your child to work day, and she like thinks about like, and this Anya is how you split someone in half. Make sure you get all the fatal organs. And then she's like, okay, maybe I don't.
Yeah, and she just like does it in her head, and their daughter just gets like splashed with blood, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna traumatize her.
That's not a good idea. Super not. And obviously, Lloyd Forger is a fucking fantastic character. And watching him go from like being a super serious, like the moments he goes from a super a super serious spy who is like the best of the in the world to like loving father unintentionally, and like watching him slowly but surely fall in love with with his like fake daughter and his fake wife. It's really nice. I am not looking forward, obviously, to the eventual reveal that these characters have to go through, because none of them know that the other is what they are. And that is also one of the linchpins which makes the series so fucking charming. There are so many times in which the characters will have to do something or pretend that they don't fully understand. And that comes a lot in Anya, who is the little girl. Anya can read minds. So she knows exactly what her dad and mom are up to at all times. And like her dad has to do like, he's like, oh, I have horrible diarrhea. I can't do anything. And like, I gotta go. And then he'll go do like 6 spy shit. Like that's normally the pacing of the manga. Is there's normally some sort of weird thing that's happening, or they need to advance Anya in her scholastics, and so like Yor or Lloyd will have to do something that like kind of leads into that. And now they have a dog, and I don't want to go too into the dog because that just happened. But it is a fantastic little series. It is bi-weekly. So I think there's only like 38 chapters right now, 40 chapters right now. So unfortunately we did the horrible thing of catching up too soon. And now instead of waiting every week, it's every other week. And I hate it. So
I think one of my favorite fucking chapters is just anything to do with your fucking wanting to be like a really good wife. And so she'll like sneak out, and they're like, oh, why is she staying out so late? What's going on? And she's just practicing like cooking to fucking her going to the grocery stores and beating the shit out of people, and fucking just her trying to be a good mom / wife is the cutest shit I have ever fucking seen. Because she gets so insecure about it, because she wants to be a good wife and she wants to like be there for him, and it's the cutest shit because she will snap a man fucking in half for her fucking husband and daughter, and it's the cutest.
Violence is the cutest is like what it sounds like.
Oh, dude, but it's violence because they care, and that's why it's cute.
Yeah, like I get that. I appreciate that. I'll start reading it eventually once I get out of anime hell.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a while.
Oh fuck. Speaking of anime hell, Nate, you recently checked out one of my favorite animes of all time, despite its horrid second season.
Oh god,
which I am slowly experiencing. Gotta love Code Geass, and it's really, really shitty ending to the first season, and the second season is okay.
so here's the deal. So Nate, we're gonna talk a little bit. So for anyone who has not seen Code Geass, we're gonna be talking a little bit about season 1. It's season 1 spoilers, and we're gonna talk a little bit about season 2. So just a fair warning out there if you haven't checked it out. It is a great series until a certain point.
It is a great series all the way up to season 2.
Right.
I would even argue the last episode of season 1, but that's just because the ending is just they leave so much in the air.
Yeah, but that's what makes a good cliffhanger. Could you imagine waiting an entire anime season, waiting for that second season to drop?
Scream.
Oh, I need to get season 2.
Yeah, and then we got season 2, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Oh god.
How far are you into season 2 anyway?
I got to the 6th episode. Like, so I'm up to the 7th, I believe, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I was just binging a bunch of anime because I was watching Great Pretender, which we'll talk about later. But as soon as I finish that, I'm just like, fuck it. I'll start watching season 2 because I put it off like a fool. And I haven't touched One Piece this week because I'm made the mistake of watching it with friends. Uh, foolish decision on my part. But Code Geass first season, fucking Christ, it really pulls you in immediately. Which I watched the first episode. Mitch showed me the first episode like months ago. Actually, it was probably like better off saying like last year, because the concept of time is just gone to me. And I wanted to watch more, but I never did. And then when I took a week off work, I wrote down a bunch of anime that I wanted to watch, and Code Geass was one of them. And I got really, really into it. I think I finished it in like barely 2 days. I just binged it.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. It's so cool. I don't know. I think it's just like it has just so many things like Gundam that I just appreciated. And it is a retelling of like the Gundam story, obviously, from like different elements included and just like perspective wise. But just like Lelouch as a character, because you have that moment of like watching it of just like, right, this kid this person that's leading a rebellious group to regain fucking like to reunite Japan, so like the Japanese aren't called 11s anymore, is indeed a child that's still in school. And it's like, why child soldiers so often? Anime.
I mean, Gundam kind of threw that one, right? So there's always been kids that like will be like, "Oh, you're the chosen ones. Fucking go into Voltron or go into fucking the robot Shinji or whatever the fuck." They always had like those kind of stuff before, but like with Gundam, it really elevated that and made it into, holy shit, maybe we shouldn't put children in fucking war machines. And I'm sure that it had been done before, but that's the most notable example I can think of.
Yeah, just throw kids into like military mechs. Nothing's gonna go wrong at all.
Oh yeah, nothing.
But cause I, especially like after like watching Great Pretender, it's like I realized how much I love like just characters that are very intelligent and are able to think like multiple steps ahead. And like Lelouch is a really good example of that. Like you literally the first time you like kind of see him before shit starts hitting the fan, which is like nearly immediately, he displays very quickly of how smart he is, and how he like gambles with chess and shit like that. And he's just like notorious for skipping school constantly because it's like he's like, I don't fucking need to attend classes. I'm gonna go make some more money because why not? But once he like obtains the Geass though, and how he like immediately like conjures up the plan to just like rebel against like Britannia is just so cool. It's like immediate of like, okay, if I do this, it's like I'm immediately gonna go after my brother because fuck him.
Oh, fuck Clovis, dude.
Clovis,
fuck
yeah.
Code Geass Garma.
I know that though, like I couldn't help but laugh. I felt so bad, but I laughed at the funeral because they did the giant portrait thing as well, and I fucking lost it. I'm like, because I didn't want to be like, so he's just Garma, right? He's just Code Geass Garma, and then, like it was in the back of my mind, but I'm like, nah. And then there was the huge portrait of him at his funeral, and I'm like, oh, it's just Garma. Okay. But yeah, like, and then there's kind of like the addition of like Suzaku as well, which, ugh. I like that's the thing. I understand everything that Suzaku does, but it's still just so frustrating because it's like you guys are fighting for the same thing. Y'all are fighting for the same thing, but you're doing different shit. And the factor that, like, Suzaku cannot die because of Lelouch now, I'm like, okay, Lelouch can still die. But fucking Suzaku can't because of the Geass, and it's like, fuck! It's like, god damn it! I don't want him to win, but I do, because I care! It's like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I understand, like, all of the characters and kind of, like, what they're doing, and that's also another thing I'll give Code Geass of just every single character, well, season 1, season 2 is a bit, but in season 1, it's like everyone's very, like, concrete in, like, their reasoning for what they're doing, and, like, the reason that they're so passionate about it as well. And it's just very, very just, like, admirable. Because not a lot of shows have, like, not a lot of shows do that. Like, there's characters that have, like, their motivation or, like, they have their end goal, but kind of, like, their motivation to kinda keep going wavers a lot. But, like, Code Geass, like, everyone's relatively, like, very serious, and, like, they're all kids, so it's, like, weird, but, like, they're all very serious, they're all very passionate about their goal, and, like, living, like, their lives to stick by the kind of code that they've set themselves. Like, cause like, Suzaku wants to be, like, the good guy. He wants to try and deal with everything with, like, as minimal casualties as possible, and then there's just, like, Lelouch that it's like, "No, fuck these people. Fuck Britannians. They suck. I might be a Britannian, but am I, though? Am I really?"
Am I, though? Yes.
Yeah. As my dad was just, like, clearly assassinated, like, got my mom assassinated and shit, yeah. Ugh. Which I still don't know who the fuck started that, because Lelouch tried to find out, but there were so many loose threads at the end of season 1, and it's like,
Oh, have
season
fun
2
with that.
season 2 has answered none of them so far.
Yeah, I don't remember if they answer any of them ever.
They do.
Oh,
they do
good.
address that. They do address that.
Yeah, and how there's in season 2 there's a lot more Geass users, because you have, like, in season 1 there's one other person that's like obsessed with, like, 2B and shit. And yeah, and then you have, like, Lelouch, but in season 2 it's like, oh yeah, my fucking dad, the, like, leader of Britannia, has a Geass. It's like my fucking false brother because I forget his name.
Clovis.
But it's like my false brother. Yeah, you think I would remember, but no. It's like he also has a Geass, which
No, that's not his false brother's name. It's shit, I don't remember.
Dweebus.
Yeah, his name is Urkel.
That's the thing. I give him a lot of shit, but his Geass is very cool. And I don't know. I feel so bad for Lelouch so far in season 2, because he has to pretend like he doesn't know shit the entire time, like, so far, because of Suzaku, because it's like this whole thing of, oh, he might have awakened his memories, like, he might have those back. Keep an eye on him, so he had to pretend that his, like, sister wasn't his sister, and I'm like, oh, why you gotta do this to Natalie? Why? Literally his reason for doing all of this.
Because otherwise it won't be super painful, mate. What? Code Geass was really good at doing a couple things. It was really good at blending mech series and these kind of supernatural elements into it the same way that Gundam had the new types.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of series that try to do the supernatural elements, and they don't. The blend isn't perfect, but Code Geass had a really good sense of how to balance that out. As you continue with the series, keep in mind that once again, season 2 obviously made its changes because of marketing aspects. They were trying to get more male viewership because a lot of people came in for Code Geass due to Suzaku, Lelouch.
Oh yeah,
Clamp in general.
The way they advertised it was they had a Code Geass for girls and a Code Geass for boys. On the Code Geass for girls, it was Lelouch and Suzaku in a compromised position, and on Code Geass for boys, it was God, what is her name? How do you say her name? The redheaded one.
Colin
and C2 in a compromised position.
All right. As a person, I probably just would have like gone just both, like confused. Both.
Well, it was different. It was different back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah. But they were just trying to get people into it, and they're like, you know what girls like? Yaoi.
I would like to iterate that when I said that it was different, that wasn't me being like, oh, it was a good decision. No, they were dipshits and didn't understand how the marketing team on Code Geass didn't understand what made it great in the first place. In their minds, they looked at the fact that there was a female demographic that was consuming most of Code Geass, and they looked at that and they were like, well, they're not going to buy model kits.
And have you seen the Lancelot? It's cool as fuck.
Yeah, but that's not. Well, that marketing tells us that they don't buy it, so that they didn't do it. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, which I've been having to be an adult male and seeing teenage girls doing weird shit because they're like ass and titty shots though. That's how you bring the boys in to watch fucking Code Geass, and I'm like, no.
No.
Like no,
but apparently it was because it worked.
Oh, fucking, of course it worked. It's like
it did. It super did.
Titties and ass to a teenage boy. Like yeah. I don't know. I've been enjoying it a lot for sure. Again, it's just like I've just kind of realized like watching like anime that how much I do enjoy just intelligent characters and like having to plot and scheme and like try and be 10 steps ahead of their enemy. And then like Code Geass especially has elements of Gundam that I really enjoyed. Also just like I enjoy a lot of the characters in Code Geass and just the mech designs. They're so simplistic, yet they just work. It's real fucking cool. I've been enjoying it just a lot. Again, season 2 is kind of lackluster in comparison right now, but I hope it gets a little better. I'm only 6 episodes in, so hopefully season 2 gets at least better.
For your sake, you really like season 2.
Okay.
That's all I can say about it, is that I hope you like season 2.
The thing is, it's just like, I just want some, doesn't even have to be like all, but some of like the plot threads that they have going, like to just kind of be tied up a little. It doesn't even have to be like fully concise. It doesn't have to be like perfect ending for all of the plot points, but it's just like somewhat clean in the sense of like you pretend that your room's clean by just putting all of the shit under your bed. It's like it looks clean, but it's not when you look into it. I don't mind if it's that kind of ending with all the plot threads. Just like as long as there's somewhat of an ending to most of them, I'll be happy. But like I don't want to get my hopes up, obviously. But yeah, like season 1 was just really, really good. So season 2 is kind of just like a bit lackluster in comparison, but I will still watch it. So I need to watch something in between all the fucking One Piece. Which can I start talking about Great Pretender now.
Yes, Nate.
I'm like,
yes, you can start talking about.
Can I please stop talking about this other anime that I really like? Can you please talk about the more recent one?
All right, go ahead. The stage continues to be yours, Nate. Continue.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, dude, fuck, go for it.
I just feel like I've been talking for a while, and this is an anime that neither of you have watched yet, so I feel bad.
Also, what the fuck is wrong with this man's face?
What are you talking about? It's perfect.
Okay,
what
Nate.
are you talking about? Just because he looks like he got hit in the face doesn't mean that anything is wrong.
I feel like I've been going on for a while here. Let me continue. So, Great Pretenders is an anime I watched. Tell us,
I'm doing
Nate.
what Mitch does.
That's right. So, Nate, yeah.
on your talk show, I'm talking more.
That's right. No, so this series just came out on Netflix. I saw the trailer for it a little bit ago. Tell us a little bit about Great Pretenders. You did just finish this one up.
Yeah, I finished it up. I think I watched it all mostly in one day. It's very captivating to me, but again, it's one of those shows that, because I like shows not being predictable. I know that sounds weird, but it's I am a person that has a tendency to analyze things, and this is a show that it's they pull some shit out of their ass that just shouldn't be fucking possible, but it is, I guess, because ultimately this show's genre is actually a comedy, which in retrospect I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But initially I was like, huh, they're dealing with some kind of just heavy shit, but anime, I guess. But so how I explained it, probably how I've been explaining it is so basically the plot to this show is, so freaking Makoto, the main character, he is a self-proclaimed best con artist in Japan. And he kind of gets led on this path by Laurent, which is another con artist, to go with him to with him to LA to basically do bigger cons and helping him out, basically. So how this anime starts is interesting, because I've talked about it a little bit. But how it starts is that there are bits that they're actually still speaking in Japanese, which threw me off, because I made sure that I selected English and everything because I watched it dubbed. So basically what they do is basically just instead of just showing that they're speaking different languages, it's they literally just put it that way just so there's no confusion, I guess. So they're kind of they jump between English and Japanese in the beginning, and that's the actual Japanese VAs speaking English. So there's a point in the first episode that they cut to start speaking, for us obviously English completely, but probably for Japan it was switching that, hey, we're only just going to speak from Japanese from here on out, because it's they're just assume that they're speaking English the rest of the time, is the whole point of that. I don't know, it's hard to talk about this anime, just because I feel it is one of those shows, the less you know about it the better. Get a general idea of what it's about. If you think it's for you, then watch it. But yeah, the less you know the better. But yeah, again, it's just it's really taking that being 10 steps ahead of your target to a next, an absurd level. It's so elaborate, which is just really, and that's where most of the comedic effect comes from, because Makoto doesn't expect any of it, because they don't fill him in. They're just okay, in the con, this is what you're doing, and you do that thing, you pretend to be this person, we'll sort the rest out. But the thing is, when a lot of the times which is where most of its comedic effect comes from, is just them not telling him shit, and he's just evidently nervous, and for some reason no one really questions it. And then it just turns out fine. Like, so often with the first con that they do. He's like, "Ah, shit." Like, it's like, "We're busted. We fucked up. We fucked up. I'm gonna die here. I made a mistake coming to LA. Fuck." Um, but yeah, it's just I don't again, I'm just like there's so much to say, but a lot that I can't say cuz I'm like again, the less you know, the better. Like I really enjoyed the music, like, but again, it's like con artists and stuff like that, that it's really hard not to get the music on point. But visually, this anime though, so I looked up the creators like who produced this, and it wasn't the company I was expecting. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but the other anime like so they did two of the most recent Pokemon movies were like the last two things that they did, but the last anime that they did was frick. I had it in my brain and I lost it. Shit. It's right there. Fuck. 1 minute.
You're like, oh god, words, fuck my life.
Yeah, so it was I know, my brain was just like it was all there and then it just poofed out of my fucking head. Yeah, so cuz I quickly looked it up. So it's Wit Studio. Um and yeah, like the now that I'm looking at it, they helped with the recap films for Attack on Titan, I guess, as well. Um but the other anime that they did was The Empire of Corpses, which was funny enough another anime forever ago that I wanted to watch but never got around to. Um but yeah, you stylistically like there's a lot of differences cuz they base like all of the designs heavily off like the manga they're based off of. But the studio definitely has like a thing with lighting, and that's like the only time you can see like the stylistic similarities between the two. And I was just like, because holy shit, does this anime love its fucking sunset lighting? Just by God. So, trying to think of just like what else to say. Um, but yeah, so there's only like 12 episodes, and in those 12 episodes, basically they do 3 different cons within that. And each of the characters, well, you learn mostly about, so there's like probably 4 main characters, but you mostly learn the backstory of 3 of them. Like you learn why the main character became a con artist to begin with. In the image, I forget her name, but why she does what she does. And then there's another like lady that helps them with cons as well. And you get like a bit of her, it's not necessarily backstory, but like a bit of information kind of like about her to explain the way that she is. But a lot of their cons are based around taking down people that are inherently bad people, or like just swindle. It's not necessarily a Robin Hood situation because like they're benefiting themselves, but they're taking down big people as they make this big gain. So it's like they're kind of good, but not really, because all of the profit is for them and them alone. But yeah, if you just want 12 episodes of a fun time, I would go watch it. I guess.
Hey.
It's like it's so pretty. Such a pretty anime. This image does not do it justice, but it is a very pretty anime.
Why?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah, what's wrong with this image, Nate?
What's wrong with the image, Nate?
I hate that like they're looking at me as well.
Nate,
Like,
so just to sum up, that you liked this anime. And
I'm sorry that I rambled a lot.
No, I'm trying to fully grasp what exactly you were trying to say. Stylistically, like, I know it sounds dumb, and I know it sounds like I wasn't paying attention, but it's more like you can't talk about what the anime is about. But stylistically, it's very beautiful.
Yes, because like I said, it's just like, it's one of those anime that you have to watch it, because it's like, if I literally say one tiny detail, it will kind of give away everything. That's how kind of like how much fine tuning and like very, very tiny hints like this show gives you to like the bigger con that they're doing. So it's like you're kind of only getting like a small perspective because you're only getting it from Makoto's perspective. You don't see what everyone else is doing. So it's like I said, it's like if I give away like one detail about like a singular episode, then it's like it gives away like the entire thing. It's like just how elaborate like this show is, and I really enjoy that because I like, as we've seen, I'm one of those people that try to figure out from small hints like what's going to happen. Like I enjoy doing that. And a show that is able to just kind of like able to just actually like surprise me was just really fun to experience, because it's like this was the first anime in a while that I've just sat down and watched. And I know that sounds very strange, but it's like I have a tendency of putting on a show and doing something else. This was the first show in quite some time that I've just sat down and like watched it. I've been doing it with One Piece, but One Piece is a given. One Piece is always the exception with a lot of things. But yeah, it's like I haven't just sat down and watched an anime and did nothing else until like for a while, until like One Piece and Great Pretender. Also, having The Great Pretender by Freddie Mercury as the ending song surprised the shit out of me. I'm like, a pretty on the nose song choice, I guess. But no, it like the character dynamics are really fun. It's but yeah, like all the schemes are very like elaborate. Like character dynamics are just like they're fun, they're goofy. It's like with Makoto and Laurent, it's like kind of a competition because like Makoto is relatively like cocky and everything as well. And then it's like comparatively to Laurent, he's not, but it's like they have like this kind of just competitive nature with one another, and it's like I'm only doing this because we're helping each other out, like not necessarily I want to help you. And also just because like Makoto like kind of as like a con artist does grow, because like when he first starts he just kind of scams just random people on the street, but like as he goes through, then it's like, oh, this is a bad person, I don't feel bad for scamming this person. And like he kind of has like that weird kind of like development as like just a like person, like as like the anime progresses, because technically it progresses over like a couple of years,
right?
So it's like, so yeah, he has like just that point of just like hey, I'm not like, I don't want to be like just a everyday con artist anymore. I don't want to just scam innocent people. Like I want to pay those people back. And now I want to just take down people that aren't good. And it's, I don't know. They really kind of, they do a lot in 12 episodes. It felt like yeah, like there's so much. I don't know. I could just be talking out my ass, and then like everyone's gonna watch this and just be like, Nate, you overhyped this to shit. And I'm like, probably.
How could you tell us so much and yet so little?
I know. How can I waffle on about fucking one anime for like 20 minutes and still have explained nothing?
Yeah, it told us absolutely nothing about it.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, that's the end of the podcast, guys. That was our hour. So
yeah, bye.
Fuck.
Yeah, because if we start talking about One Piece, that's like another hour.
Shit.
No, I'm sorry.
Dude, you're fine. Any last closing comments on The Great Pretender? TLDR?
Besides,
just being a dick, don't worry.
Go watch it. That's about it.
All right.
If you like con artists.
All right.
There you go.
Neat.
I should say the aesthetic of con artists.
The aesthetic of con artists.
Yeah.
I read a manga.
It's not, what manga, Mitch?
It's nothing like anything we've talked about. It's not like Code Geass or Great Pretender where I could talk about it forever. It's just a show called, it was a manga called Mashal, and Mashal. It's not good.
Mashal.
I just wanted to talk about it because I have.
What the fuck is that?
So no, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about Mashal.
Okay.
So yeah, so essentially, the main character names is Mash, and he lives in a world where everyone who has these magic markings on them that kind of kind of like designates you as like, oh, you're a magic user. You have a mark on your face that means you're a magic user, and like 99% of people have the ability to cast magic. Except for Mash. Mash is not, he has no magical abilities. He actually, that mark on his face is super fake. It's not a real mark. I think they put like a Sharpie mark or some shit, put that on there, and then everyone thinks he can cast magic. So the thing is, imagine if Harry Potter could not cast magic, but he had to somehow get through his regular day at Hogwarts. That's the manga. So the thing that I've been kind of avoid talking about is that Mash is ripped as fuck. He is as powerful as One Punch Man. He is so stupidly strong that in order to pass a broom flying class, right? Because wizards fly, right? So like he's like, oh yeah. Of course we're gonna learn how to fucking ride on a broomstick. He throws the broomstick and then jumps on it and falls with style to show that he can fly on it. And everyone's so impressed at how fast he did it that they're like, you should be our fucking goalie for fucking Quidditch. And he sits there and he's like, and that's the whole manga. This guy has no fucking
onto the hoop.
Like, no, so that's what he does. He throws up the broom, he fucking gets on it, and then he like has to do all sorts of dumb gimmicky bullshit to make it look like he is magical when he is in fact not.
And this is a bad manga, you said.
So here's the deal. On a piece of paper, Mashal sounds amazing, right? The idea that someone has to fake being magical to continue going through life. That is, on paper, a very interesting idea. But after I caught up with it, I had a problem where, unfortunately, as funny and as awesome as the joke is, I don't think it can sustain the manga. Much like how I feel about One Punch Man, where the gimmick is that he's so powerful that he finds no joy in life anymore, the gimmick doesn't ever fully develop enough for me to really have fun with it, right? Like, I always wanted Saitama, like, to have, like, this, like, yes, he's unfulfilled, but take it another step, you know? Like, he can punch things in one punch. That's awesome. He has a lot of control over his power. What if you just made it so that, like, for me, Saitama would have been a lot funnier if, like, it was just, like, he had somewhat a lack of control, you know? Like, sometimes, like, on occasion, he fucks up horribly, right? Like, he goes to, if it was that meme where you slap the car, he would destroy it, right? Or if you go to open a door and just it disintegrates. Like, that's the kind of level of humor I really wanted out of One Punch Man. And that's the same level of humor I kind of wanted with Mashal. And there is moments with that. They never take the gimmick to the next natural level, right? Where Mash, like, the only thing I think they ever really do with it is Mash, you can really fucking punch someone really hard. It must be some sort of physical enhancement magic. And he's like, yeah, sure. And my biggest, and like another real quick qualm I have with this is Mash is kind of like, personality wise, he's very calm, he's very collected, he never gets mad, he gets kind of like, it's very Narukami-esque, where it's kind of like a blank slate almost, it feels like. But he also, this child shows no emotions, but he for the things that he does like cream puffs and shit like that, he enjoys cream puffs, and he's very simple, he's very basic. And when you do that, you have to make sure that the ensemble around said character is colorful and really, really stands out, so that, you have like your Narukami, but you also have Yosuke, you have, you have Rise, you have Kanji, you have, Yukiko and Chie. You have to make sure you have those types of characters around said main character, so that it really kind of emphasizes how awesome the world is. And also you have to make sure that, you do that kind of stuff. Mashle doesn't really, like, the side characters aren't as fun as I think I would want them to be. And that's kind of, and maybe I'm being like a snob, or maybe I'm being like a little bit much about it, but I do think that there is room to improve the series. I think that there is a way to make it work. I just think that as it stands right now, I don't think it's where it needs to be. You know what I mean? That being said, that's all I really want to say about it. If you are bored, go check
if
this.
you're so fucking bored that you have nothing left.
Yeah, read Mashle and watch freaking Great Pretender. That's what you can do with your free time.
There is another one I do want to talk about real quick. And I think go ahead.
Oh, can I just ask one question about Mashle? Does anyone question him?
Sort of.
At all.
Like just at all.
So what happens is there are like moments where they're like, that's not magic. That can't be magic. but like they're also like, but magic's so commonplace that it's like, maybe he's just really good. Maybe he's just really, really fucking good. And there are moments where they do question it, but but because he's so stupidly buff, he could normally just make shit like,
who the fuck's gonna question him? It's just like, someone comes up to him, it's like, you're really not magical. He just decks him in the face. It's like, shut up, nerd.
Oh, you're not magic. It's fucking Link.
You were saying?
Yeah, all his teeth are like out of his fucking mouth. No, like that's the thing. Like, yes, they're having moments where the characters kind of question it, but at the same time, they're not going to address it because you're not using magic. You're stupidly buff and scary. Like, no one.
Because if you did, that would ruin the joke.
But yeah, so Mashle, if you're bored, give it a shot, and maybe you'll get a better kick out of it than I did. The truth of the matter is that there's a lot of series out there that just aren't made for me. I would love to see gimmicks taken to the next level. I think that that's a really solid way to kind of evolve a joke, but I think that Mashle, for what it is adequate. It's fine. And I'm sure there's people out there who are really hyped for it, and I'm sure that out of all the anime we're talking about, all the manga we're talking about tonight, this one's probably gonna get an anime. Unlike the next one we get to talk about.
Yeah, just really quick with like the Mashle thing as well. That's such a detailed hand.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, by God.
Oh yeah.
Like, just all focus is on that hand. Nothing else.
That being said. If anything, I'd say for you two, give the first chapter a shot, because it's very minimalistic the way that it is drawn.
Nice.
Which leads me to,
I decided to look it up because I was like, that sounds hilarious. I'm gonna fucking look it up, and now what the fuck? Half the panels are like, oh, look at all this detail, and then the other half is like half drawn bullshit where they're character's essentially just a fucking meme.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, it reminds me a lot of One Punch Man. It reminds me a lot of that style. And it feels very much like it's trying to emulate that vibe. That being said, we're gonna be talking about another manga that I read, and I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier with you, Nate, and when I was talking with Josh earlier too.
Yeah.
And that is the manga Time Paradox Ghost Rider. This series just ended today. It is 12 chapters long, and it was a waste of my time. I don't.
Really?
That sounded really harsh, and I don't mean for it to sound that harsh.
How else? It was a waste of my time. How else is that supposed to sound?
For the longest time, I thought you were saying writer, not writer.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Ghost Rider time paradox.
Yeah.
I love how that's what I thought for the longest time until today, and I didn't question it.
So
I'm like, yeah, no, that's something that Mitch is reading.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So real quick, Amanda posted a simple image of the last of Mashal. Real quick, I'm gonna throw it up real quick. I'm gonna throw that up for the audience
so
at home.
Everybody can see what I'm talking about when I say, "Oh yeah," it'll go from so really detailed to just this.
It's just okay.
Yeah, so that is an actual shot from Mashal.
I don't know.
This, by the way, this manga I think won an award. So
oh my god! Why did I spend so much time learning how to draw?
Yeah, I know, right? Fucking me doing a fucking detailed background. Don't need that shit.
Yeah.
Screen tone that bitch.
So Time Paradox Ghost Rider is about Teppei Sasaki. And his whole gimmick is he wants to be a mangaka, right? But he can't do the one thing that's gonna make it over the top. He writes manga, he draws manga, he lives and breathes manga, but he just it's too boring. Every concept, every idea he has is just too fucking boring. And he gets really upset, he gets really depressed, and then one fucking day, out of the goddamn blue, he gets a issue of a Weekly Shonen Jump that is from 10 years in the future. And using that Jump magazine and reading a specific manga called White Knight out of it, he says, wait, it's not here yet. What if I just took White, claimed it for myself? What if I drew this, and every week I'll just redraw this manga and be the best mangaka ever? Sounds like a real shitbag move, right? But that's what was intriguing about it. Like, the thing was the main character wasn't perfect. Sasaki isn't perfect. He is desperate. He is hungry for that level of mangaka that he's always wanted to be. And so in the first chapter, he writes, he has a huge inner monologue with himself. He debates with himself. He's like, it's so wrong. I'd be stealing from someone, but am I? This is from the future. It hasn't been made yet. I will just be essentially bringing it, here. And so he makes the White Knight manga, and everyone fucking loves it. The editors, everyone around him is crying. Like, they love it so much. It is never directly shown what actually the manga is. But the idea is that everyone who reads it, like, their lives are, like, touched by White Knight. And the first chapter ends with a schoolgirl in her room, in a room covered head to toe in sketches and drawings, furiously, like, ripping apart the Shonen Jump and being like, who is this person? He stole my White Knight. This is my White Knight. And that was a great first chapter, because Sasaki, like, stole it. He's being a shitbag, right? And this girl, Itsuki, she she apparently had planned White Knight like 10 years before it would ever come out. So all the love and effort that she would eventually put into the manga, he just took. And so the manga follows that idea. Every week, fucking Sasaki will get a Shonen Jump, and he will write the chapter, he'll rewrite the chapter of White Knight for the next week. And the idea is that Sasaki is kind of like internally fucked, because he's like, I want to make White Knight, why, like, I want to make a manga that everyone's gonna love, but I don't get any satisfaction from making White Knight because, aside from the initial bit, I am actively stealing from someone's work. And Itsuki is trying to find who this person is, who fucking Teppei Sasaki is, because he fucking stole her work. And she wants to get to the bottom of this. And on the initial get-go, that is a great concept. That is a wonderful concept, because you have a main character who is flawed, who is shitty, who is willing to do, that horrible thing so that he can become successful. And that's great for like 6 chapters. For 6 chapters, it is I would say 4. For 4 chapters, it is a great concept.
I would say 4.
For 4 for 4 whole chapters, it is one of the possibilities, right? That there is the fucking microwave like the melted microwave that spits out Shonen Jumps from the future. There is fucking the whole thing. Eventually, Itsuki becomes inspired by Sasaki, because like, hey, I think, if you came up with White Knight and I came up with White Knight, then that means that it must be like a super solid idea, because everyone loves White Knight. I want to be someone who works under you, Sasaki. I want to become a manga just like you. And when she says that, Sasaki, like he dies inside. He hates it. And that was the best part. It's Sasaki.
It's like he stole the idea from you.
He is a scumbag. He is the worst. And I loved it. I loved the fact that he felt horrible about it. He felt bad.
Right.
But then, the manga, unfortunately, as I found out at a later date, was ranking horribly in Shonen Jump. The manga, while initially had a very high ranking amongst Shonen Jump's top series, would eventually fall every single week until it reached the bottom. And that's where we are today. See, I read the last chapter of Ghost Rider, or Time Paradox Ghost Rider. That shit sucked. You had one of the best scenarios I have read in a Shonen Jump in a long time. And you squandered it, and it is fucking horrible. It is fucking horrendous. Because they rushed it. Because he knew he was getting canceled, the mangaka rushed all the story threads. He made everything kind of feel like, one, it didn't feel fulfilling, it wasn't very interesting, it was kind of boring, and then it just led to its last chapter, which was today. And I don't want to talk about the last chapter, not because of spoilers or anything, but I don't want to talk about it. I don't want I know I brought it. It's weird to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bring it up for the podcast, but it is so disheartening how bad this series ended, because it didn't, maybe not even 4 weeks ago, it had a twist. It had a twist that I'm assuming was supposed to be much later down the road, where it turns out one of the weeks the Shonen Jump doesn't come, and he's like, what the fuck's that all about? And then the next week it comes in, and it talks about the fact that 10 years in the future, Itsuki had worked herself to death. The writer of the original White Knight had died. And then it becomes, well, hang on, what leads to that path? And then eventually he gets a message from the thing that says, oh, I'm sending you this. I'm sending you this message because we're going to try to avoid Itsuki's death. And that was really interesting, right? Because oh shit, I'm getting fucking Steins Gate vibes. Steins Gate is fucking awesome, right? And now we're dealing with time paradoxes. We're dealing with how to handle this situation. How do we avoid a character's death? And they squandered it, and it sucked, and the ending sucked, and it was masturbatory, and it was garbage, and it felt horrible, and I hated the last page with every fiber of my fucking being, because I read the last chapter, I get to the final page, I don't realize it's the final page because most of the time when a series ends like this, the final page is something like, it's a whole page or it's a big spread or something like that. But for a series that only had 12 chapters, I guess they didn't want to give it to them, so they had the final page look like a standard page of the manga. So I went to the next page thinking, oh, like I keep scrolling right or I keep scrolling left, and I'm like, why can't I get to the next page? What the fuck's up with that? And then I look at the very bottom of the page and it says the end. And I'm like, oh, this sucked. And like I cannot emphasize enough how fucking there is nothing. If you want to piss me off, if you ever truly want to just get under my skin, show me series with horribly wonderful potential that just flies too high to the sun and then just like plummets like a fucking anvil that was summoned in midair. Like there's no chance of saving. Like there's no chance of anything coming from that isn't disastrous. It is the fucking worst. Because I cannot tell you how many times I've seen series with incredibly wonderful ideas that just, because Shonen Jump is the way that it is, it's incredibly competitive, which on paper is very great. It just kind of squandered itself. So, nice try, Ghost Rider Time Paradox, or Time Paradox Ghost Rider. Good try. You even had someone write a fucking wiki for you for like 12 chapters, so congratulations. But like, holy shit. While I feel like I might have said something about the last Mitch's Minute that we talked about this. This was bad. This one was a bad manga. This one was a bad choice because at the end of the day, like even if it wasn't for that ending, I feel like watching something with so much promise turn out to be nothing just hurts more than not getting anything at all. You know the old adage that it's better to have loved than to have never loved at all? Nah, not this time.
Not this time. You lie.
That's some bullshit. Because I would have never. I would have preferred to have never have seen this shit to begin with.
Yeah, because then you wouldn't have had the disappointment of it ending on such a fucking shitty note.
Oh, God, it is. The worst part is that I sit there and I'm like, oh man, if there's only a better version of this, and there is. It's called Steins Gate and is one of my favorite games of all time. Anyways, let's talk about the thing that no one wants
to.
Huh?
Steins Gate, another thing that I need to look into because I never got around to it.
So good. It is so fucking good. Both the anime and the game are fucking fantastic. There was one Steins Gate 0 that I have not played yet, but holy shit. That being said, this is the part of the Mitch's Minute where we're going to start talking about One Piece, and I need to emphasize that before we go into it because I know we have talked a lot about One Piece, and this is going to be probably a really long section of the Mitch's Minute, and more than likely than not, it's going to be the end of the.
Like the end of the podcast, as well as just just prepare to hear One Piece for probably like the rest of this year. Like start of next year.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is, just because I know some of my fans do not like One Piece, we are only going to talk about One Piece at the end of Mitch's Minutes. If you guys liked this, please make sure you give it a like on YouTube, follow us on Twitch. We do this stuff live. I would love to continue doing Mitch's Minutes more often. They're a really good excuse to just talk about whatever the fuck's going on, and we read a ton of series and we watch a lot of anime. I like to read a lot of manga. There's actually this one I didn't get a chance to talk about, not because of time or anything like that, because we decide the time for the podcast, but it's a manga where two characters fall in love while playing Magic the Gathering in the 90s. And we will talk more about that next time on Mitch's Minute. But so if anyone is leaving because you don't want to hear about One Piece, that's fair. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time. So One Piece. So One Piece. We're gonna kind of go in general.
Why? Why did you?
We are going to talk.
Oh, Nate, there's some shit that goes down later on that I can't wait for you to see, simply because I know it'll bring you fucking tears.
So
I'm so excited.
So
fuck you.
I couldn't find an image from the Drum Kingdom that wouldn't be horribly spoilery.
So this
Chopper was the alternative.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, we're going to talk about these arcs as we kind of went through them. So we're going to talk first to Nate, who has been watching the Netflix it's Funimation's dub of One Piece. You are now currently in Alabasta, but you have been watching from the East Blue, and we kind of talked a little bit about the East Blue beforehand, and getting to know those characters, I think. Actually, why don't we do that? Fuck that. Why don't we talk about the East Blue real quick? Let me see if I can get like an image for that, and then we'll talk about Drum Island.
Yeah.
Was that image too much?
It was. I'm still crying.
Oh my god.
I'm still crying, man.
I love just how much this is like fucked with you. Also, I want you to know that my eyes are so bad right now that there's something going on. That your fucking icon, Nate, it looks like it's moving to me.
Oh.
I'm like at that point where I'm like, oh no.
All right. So let's start off from the beginning. So we're gonna talk about the East Blue. We're gonna talk about Luffy getting his crew together. How are you liking, or I should say, how are you liking One Piece right now? And also, what did you think of the first big engulfing chronicle that was East Blue?
Where to start is like because I've tried talking about One Piece and I'm just like, so much shit happens in so little time.
It's almost as if it's fucking over 20 years old.
I kind of like that, huh? No, like, I mean, just like in just a couple episodes, a lot of shit happens because like what in the first like 3 episodes, Luffy gets Zoro, like. Not, I don't even think that many.
Yeah, no, it's 3. Yeah,
like just first 3 episodes, the boy gets Zoro, and it's like, and then it just keeps fucking just barreling on from there, and oh god, like I've tried to summarize like One Piece to other people. It's like, well, this happens, and then this happens. Like, obviously, try not to give too many spoilers, pretty much. And then it's like, then they get this character, and like going through, and they're just like, oh, what episode are you up to? And I'm just like, 98, and they're like, what the fuck? That much happens in like 98 episodes? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, now I only have 800 to go.
I know. I'm fucking excited to be sad.
All right. Okay, so I think there's a lot to talk about. This is a lot to process.
So much.
So how about this? Let's talk about Kobe. Let's start with Kobe.
Why would we start with Kobe?
Because Kobe is important.
And he's the first friend that Luffy has. Technically.
I know, like, I started to drop off like at the end of that question because I was like, why the fuck would we start with Kobe? And then I went, don't do that, Amanda. That sounds mean. So why the fuck would we start with Kobe? Is how that ended up sounding, and I was like, wait.
So more like, let's talk about the first 3 episodes, right? So in those episodes, Luffy emerges from a fucking barrel. He befriends Kobe, or more like Kobe befriends him. He kicks the shit out of Alvida, I think.
Alvida, yeah.
And then goes onto a little ship, goes to meet Zoro, does the whole thing with Axe Hand Morgan and all that stuff, and then he, gets Zoro. Kobe gets left behind because he wants to be a Marine, and then the adventure kind of goes from there. But like, the first couple beats of the story, like what was your take on it?
One Piece is so much, and I just don't have words. I used all of my words talking about other things
for 2 different series, and you're just like, you went for like half an hour.
Amanda, I've been awake since 11 p.m. Give me some credit for talking for this long. Okay. Anyway, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Hang on. Should we not talk about One Piece?
No, let's talk about One Piece.
I don't.
We needed.
Okay, all right. So
it's just that there is indeed a lot, and also it's been like a month or two since these episodes, so it's just like taking a second to recall how I felt. But because this is when I initially watched it. Like I started watching One Piece on my own because I was just like, well, because I said as a joke, I'm like, well, if it comes to Netflix, I'll start watching One Piece like a douche. And then I'm like, and then it came to One Piece came to Netflix, and I'm like, well, there goes my life for the next couple of months. But I don't know. I immediately just like fell in love with the characters and just how stupid and silly, goofy everything was. Because like
so fucking hard into fucking Sanji.
Oh, dude, not yet.
You're like, yeah, I started watching it and it's pretty good, and then all of a sudden, out of fucking nowhere, I knew the second you met fucking Sanji, because everything exploded with that boy's face on it.
Okay.
You're like, my baby boy, and I was like, what?
Okay. So I'll kind of just go down like the list of characters and kind of just like story beats that I kind of recall as we go. So yeah, first is Zoro. It's like Zoro immediately is just fucking cool. Like he comes across as like just intimidating tough guy, but Luffy is just so much of a goofball that it's just like it's
they
like
balance each other out really well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like the first like Zoro being the like first mate and everything is just so dumb, but I love it. And also like the second he like ate like the little girl's food, even though it got kicked in the dirt, and I'm just like
yeah, he's a good boy.
Yeah, and that's like just the slow progression of just like meeting all of like the One Piece characters. It's like these characters have gone through their own level of got like just fucking life garbage, but they are still so happy to just like commit to their dreams, and it's just it gets you in the feels. It gets you. It really does. So yeah, it's like Zoro like joining the crew. It was just like that immediate like just dynamic between the two of them, and it was just like so fun. And like that being like in the first 3 episodes, I was just like, oh, where the fuck does this go? Like I'm already in, like hook, line, sinker, I'm in, let's go. Like for close to 1,000 episodes, let's just go. So I literally just I hopped aboard that ship and it's sailing. That's just One Piece. I understand that people don't like One Piece, and that's fine, but I will be talking about this. I feel like everyone that I talk to will stop talking to me, besides Mitch and Amanda.
I think, well, yeah, because everybody else is like, please stop, and we're like, please go on.
Just like continue about One Piece.
I think one of One Piece's best qualities about it, though, is the bingeability. It's just the ability to binge endlessly.
You don't feel it. That's like the thing that always baffles me. It's just like, oh, that was the end of an episode? Shit. Or like,
that
oh, we've been.
That was the end. We never count on it ever being the end of an episode.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, we've been sitting here in a group call watching One Piece for like 4 hours. Nice. And that's just how my day goes. People ask, like, Nate, what have you been up to? I'm like, watching One Piece, and they're like, still? And I'm like, you don't even know. I I don't tell people that it's like nearly 1,000 episodes because I would look at me like I'm a psychopath. But yeah, everything's just so fun. So it's like Zoro first, and then like meeting Nami, and then there's like Buggy the Clown being like the first other pirate villain. Is the thing, because like we dealt with a couple Marines, and then it's like, and seeing like other characters like with devil fruit powers, and like just how ridiculous it starts, and how because like you guys have talked about it, and how like just ridiculous the entirety like it stays that level of ridiculousness, but there's just points that it just hits in the feels, and that for me it's like every single character backstory so far. Like there are moments obviously like when shit kind of gets real and there's like potential for character death, and I'm like I'm not there for it, but it's like granted, Chopper's backstory got me to blubber like a goddamn baby, but like every single like character backstories made me like like either upset or cry to some degree, but that's just me, baby.
If you had to, and this kind of goes to both of you, in my younger days, when I first started, when I was a teenager and I got really hardcore into this show, I had a really hard time convincing my other friends to get into it, because it is a monumentous, at the time, even then, it was a monumentous anime to get into. That was 10 years ago. What would you, in as few words as possible, what would you say to someone? What is the biggest selling point you could give this series?
Honestly, that it's a very feel-good fucking series, that you love the characters and you love what they're doing, and it's never ending, and it's great. That's always a thing for me, is that I get sad when I run out of whatever, and so it sucks when I'm finally caught up, but there's like no catching up in sight right now.
Just yet.
That's really great that I can just dive headfirst into it and never see like the end of it. I don't know. I'm one of those people who in a fandom or in a hyperfixation I have, likes to dive into the deep end, and the fact that I can never reach the bottom of the pool is great to me. But that's just me.
That's just Amanda.
That's just me. I like to be just doused in whatever I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, no, kind of to like play off that, like, cause I always considered watching One Piece for a very long time. I constantly put it off, and then there's like the constant debate of just like, oh well, no point watching filler and shit like that. And then I ended up just not bothering with it. But uh, it's like, yeah, it's intimidating to see like the amount of episodes it has, and then, but I don't know, like to convince people like how to describe it, like its main selling point. It's There's an adventure for everyone. I feel like, I know it sounds dumb, especially because I'm only like I haven't even watched 100 episodes yet, but it's just like at least one of the characters are going to grab you, at least. And if it doesn't, then like One Piece isn't for you. But it's it's an anime that's really hard not to love it, and I think that's just the honesty of it, in my opinion. Obviously, I have a huge bias, but we've got a humongous bias. But I think that's just the case. It's an adventure that it's just hard not to love, and you're bound to just find something for you in One Piece, especially because it is such a long anime.
Yeah.
My
Mitch,
what's up?
I was gonna ask you because I don't think anyone has ever asked you because none of your friends were super into it. How was your experience reading One Piece for the first time?
I was a kid. I must have been 10, 11, 12. Sora and I would get monthly Shonen Jumps back when they used to shove it in your mailbox, or you'd have to go to like Barnes and Noble or even the grocery store. Back when Shonen Jumps were these big, thick fucking books that you would get from just anywhere. You'd be able to get it anywhere. They had them. They were really trying to push this manga back in the day. VIZ was really trying to throw that shit out there.
All right.
And they had like tons of previews, and they had tons of like different little things. I remember reading Shaman King and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu Yu Hakusho and all these shonen titles that were really big in Japan that they were really trying to push, and you'd go through whole arcs. So every Shonen Jump, unlike Japan where they have one chapter of like 20 different series, in Japan you had about 3 or 4, maybe 4 is a bit much, but you had about 3 chapters of each series, where on the back of the end card of that chapter would be a big page where people would be like, they would write into Shonen Jump. They'd have like fan art of like these kids that would draw the characters, and they'd ask all these funny questions and stuff like that. And they'd have even SBS stuff sometimes, occasionally, where Oda would answer a couple questions for the Japanese audience at least. And when I started reading Jump, had One Piece in the Berardi. So you had the first chapter I ever read was Gin and Sanji were fighting off against or Luffy and Sanji were fighting off against the big pearl guy. He had he had shields with pearls on them, and I remember thinking it was fucking goofy. It was really fucking weird, right? And I had no idea. I didn't know anything about this fucking series. I think maybe I'd seen the cartoon occasionally on 4Kids back in the day when 4Kids would have that kind of shit, but I never really watched it. And I liked Gin's design. I thought that Don Krieg and Gin and all these guys, like, they were really cool. Now, mind you, if I had just started reading maybe like a couple months before that, I would have seen Hawkeye, Mihawk, and Zoro duke it out, and I think that would have captured me a lot more. Like a dumb kid version of me, like, seeing the two swordsmen go at it. But the thing is that when you would get it every month, you would physically own a big book that just had a bunch of manga in it. So you would reread some of that stuff over and over again. You would reread the show. You would reread Shaman King. You'd reread Yu-Gi-Oh. You'd reread all that stuff, and I would reread One Piece over and over and over again. I remember I took a step away from it, like we couldn't afford it. And then a couple years later, they were on the Drum Island, and
oh god,
and I had missed so much. But I remember reading Chopper's story and really getting hooked with that story, and it meant so much that I just kept reading. I would find places that had old volumes or had old Shonen Jumps, or I'd find a way to get into it. And then eventually, when the magical digital age of piracy began, and that was the way you'd read One Piece. I remember reading these really shitty translated pages. Yeah, the scanlations, and they were horrible quality, the fucking worst quality to get through Alabasta and Skypiea. But I did it. I remember wanting to just know more about this, and then I dropped it. And then in high school, that's when it really popped for me. That's when I got super into it. I had missed, so between being in let's say the 5th grade and being in a junior in high school, which was 11th grade, I got back into it hardcore. At the time, the anime was in Impel Down. And Luffy, I was like, wow, so much has happened to Luffy. What's going on? And that was a time. And reading every week during that time was, it was crazy, dude. that shit every fucking week was, at that time, was nothing but chaos. You had one of the biggest clashes in all of One Piece happening right then. You'd get updates every week about how the battle was going, and it was awesome. So yeah, my answer is it's always kind of weirdly been a part of my life. And now we're at the I'd say the fifth resurgence of it, because I got back into it in college when I took a break from it, and then I came back to it, and now here I am. Years later,
taking down all your friends with you.
That's the thing. Every time I got back into it, I never had my friends to back up on. Josh couldn't get into it. He just wasn't interested. I don't remember the exact reasoning, but it was something about, maybe it was the fact that it was like so monumentous. Every time we come back to One Piece, it's such a monumental task to come back to it. The mountain only gets higher and higher every week. So 20 years down the road, it is where it is now.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, I have you guys, and we're gonna we've been a little disorganized with this, but we're gonna try to rope this together, and instead we're gonna go with the original idea, instead of trying to tackle the East Blue in its entirety. We are going to talk about Drum Island. So.
Oh, we're back with the chopper picture.
So Luffy and the crew up to this point have done a lot. They have gone on wonderful adventures, and this is where I think, for a lot of fans, including myself, this arc is what really solidified the adventure. They had gone to an island of dinosaurs. They were inside of a whale. They, went up a mountain. Luffy almost died like 5 times up to this point.
Oh god.
But
the real, just like, because that's the thing, the shit with Chopper, like, on Drum Island was fucking sad. The shit that fucking Luffy did on Drum Island was like, is just as fucking ridiculous. Like, I think you probably heard me like slightly cringe, but there's like this moment when he's like climbing the mountain, and it's clear that it's like his fingers are just completely frostbitten, but there's a moment that he like slides down, and it's just like all blood trails, and I'm just like, oh, the amount of pain you're feeling. And then he like drops Sanji in that moment because Sanji's fucking passed out, so he has to like stretch his neck to grab him, and I'm just like, you're still fucking gripping on with probably like your bones like showing as you climb this fucking mountain for your friend. And yeah, the draw like island arc is what like just solidifies them as friends, as well as like everyone else of just like, I just want them to be okay. It's like Luffy is a fucking psychopath of a captain, but he fucking cares about his goddamn crew, and I just want them to be happy and safe and accomplish their dreams. That's all I want. But I got a lot of sadness in return. Because Chopper, having 3 grown-ass men in a Discord call crying over a blue-nosed reindeer,
I know.
really says something about a show.
I am amazed. I'm amazed that Chopper's story still brings me to tears after all this time. I have 15 years of Chopper's story, and I still fucking think it's the saddest shit.
It is, because like, that's the thing, it's just like, because like everyone's backstory, like we've seen all of the crew's backstory except for like Luffy's, technically. Like you see like a kind of general aspect of his backstory, but probably not, because there's more sad shit to Luffy that we don't know, which we'll eventually find out, because fucking everyone's sad. Who would have guessed? But yeah, like I said, it's just like everyone's like backstory has gotten to me to some degree, is the thing. It's just like except Usopp's, to be fair.
Yeah, the Usopp has always been a more weaker character for me.
Yeah, it's like you still love Usopp, but sorry that we're getting sidetracked from the Drum Island arc, but
no, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, because it's like Zoro, like he lost his best friend, and like he wants to he wants to become the best swordsman for both of them. Like he wants to keep that promise to her. And it got me. It's just like Nami from like like literally being a child and like selling herself to like Arlong basically, becoming a part of his crew to like pay off a debt, and like the entire island like knowing about it, but they didn't say anything, otherwise Nami would have just like flipped her shit. But like as a child, like dedicating herself to like becoming a thief to pay off like a huge like debt that needed to be paid. Like Usopp just, I don't, lying a bunch. It's like Usopp kind of just like not having his dad around and like losing his mom and shit. Like, and then Sanji, Sanji got me. That was like just ultimately just like the thing. Just like these people went through just like a lot of hardships at a very young age, and the factor that like this is like relatively recent for Chopper because Chopper was still a child. Like what it from his backstory to current time on Drum Island, it's like only been a few years from that point, right? It's like what? Yeah, so it's so fresh. Like that's the thing. It's just like everyone else in the crew are like 18, 19. So they've grown up from just being like just a child dealing with like whatever trauma they've dealt with. But then like Chopper, it's still so recent to him. And it's just so fucking sad. Because the thing that just got me the most, like besides him walking in with the mushroom, because that I had to literally cover my mouth because I was just open mouth sobbing. It was gross. I was ugly crying. It was not pretty. But there was that moment of like being told that no, that mushroom was poisonous. But then Chopper's like, no, it's not. It has like the symbol of the pirates on it. That fucking my heart shattered. I was like, oh, you fucking precious child. Oh no. Oh, it. I'm trying not to cry again. Chopper hurts.
Chopper does hurt. He's such a good boy.
That's the thing. It's just like he did like everything. He does just everything to just be good. He just wants to be a doctor. He just wants to have friends. And the factor of just, yeah, Luffy calling him his friend. And I don't know. And making like the entire crew making like Chopper feel normal and stuff like that. It was just so wholesome that it just made me cry even more. Just it's a very sad, wholesome arc that we literally had to pause after Chopper's backstory because we were all crying for so long. And I literally just I had to yell at some point just because I had so many emotions bottled up that I just needed to like yell real quick. I was just like, I have a lot of emotions, but I can't keep crying. My eyes hurt. I'm gonna scream.
I'm gonna go scream now.
I was like, I literally like I didn't turn off my I didn't mute my mic. I just stepped away from my computer, just yelled into the void. Ugh. God. But yeah, I feel like just that moment of like Chopper asking like Sanji about Luffy, just like so it's like so he ate a devil fruit and like that's why he's a rubber man. Like what do you call that? And then Sanji's like a monster. And like it just clearly like hits Chopper because he's like, I've been called a monster, but Luffy's not one. Luffy's helping and he's just very dedicated.
You're getting yourself worked up again.
I am. cause like I'm holding myself. It's like because that's gonna fucking help. And I'm just like, uh. But yeah, like the thing is, it's like I was on this ship from like the very fucking beginning, but now I'm strapped to a chair and I'm never leaving. They can't take me off the ship. I'm gonna forever just watch all of One Piece, and no one's going to stop me.
That in itself is the true adventure of One Piece.
That you will never want to leave it ever. Like once you're on it, you never want to leave it.
I think So I've met a lot of people who say the Drum Island arc is not very. It's not one of the better arcs. And to which I would argue, on paper, it is. There's not much that really happens. I mean, Nami's sick. They have to go find a doctor. The doctor turns out to be a witch, or what everyone calls a witch, who lives in a castle on top of one of the highest peaks in all of fucking Drum Island. And they have to find a way to get her up there, only to have the original king, who abandoned the island, come back and try to take it back, and then they beat him, and then they leave. On a piece of paper, it's not very, it isn't like the most interesting in quote-unquote arc that there is, but I think that Chopper's backstory and the importance of those emotional connections that you have with those characters, that you have with, Luke's fucking flag and everything like that. Like, once you understand Chopper as a character, everything has that weight. There is a certain weight that happens in this arc because of the backstory, the same way that it works for every character in the show. Chopper's just happens to hit super hard because Chopper is, for all intents and purposes, at the beginning of his backstory, a child. He is a child, and that needs to be taken with, the heaviest grain of salt. Chopper is treated and mistreated horribly for what he is, but there are people in his life that give him a chance and inspire him to become the doctor that he will be. And that was what gives the weight of everything that happens there. The fact that Chopper, is traumatized. He was chased out of his own fucking herd, and then he was shot by humans who thought he was a Yeti. These are things that I cannot emphasize enough for people who don't like the Drum Island arc. Like, I get it, I do, in comparison to, let's say, Alabasta or Skypiea or some of these other arcs where there's more intense action and stuff going on. Yes, not much happens in the Drum Island, but it creates these emotional anchors that make you love Chopper instantly.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. It's like, yes, on paper, not a lot happens. It's just like, I don't know, like, especially comparatively to, like, the arc before where there's potential of everyone turning into wax statues and shit, but, but it's moments like this in One Piece because it's like you have these moments when you have pop-ins of like the backstory. It's just like it's these like granted they're still pretty like far-fetched like backstories. It's like it doesn't happen to everyone like the stuff that happens to all the characters, but it makes them feel like more human and relatable in a way. It's like not everyone is going to deal with like exactly what these characters deal with backstory wise, but it's just it helps you build an attachment and it explains their reasoning for what they do. And Drum Island really cements kind of like everyone's kind of except Zoro. Zoro got a bit shafted in the on Drum Island, but um but it kind of just shows how everyone just like are acting together and how they're kind of like being a more uniform crew and how much they're already dedicated to each other even though they've been on this voyage for like granted they've still been together for a while, but it's like not as long as other crews have been. It's um like other crews have been together for years, and like the Straw Hat crew have only been together for like a few months, and they're already like this close, and they're already able to work this well together, and like just how open and accepting, and it's just it's moments like this between the action that just, ugh, it it pulls you in more. Like, I don't know how people could watch this arc and just like not feel for Chopper, like just not feel for anyone. Honestly,
it's not that they don't. It's not that they don't feel for Chopper. It's just that they look at the arc as a whole, and they kind of, and in comparison to the other arcs, there's just not much that happens there. So it's not something that like the main crux of the arc is a flashback, and I think that is something that to them, in their opinion, playing devil's advocate here a little, they see it as kind of the problem with the arc. The flashback to them can't be the emotional crux or the thing that really drags the point. I would argue that also, but I've heard that from a couple people, that besides Chopper's backstory, that the arc itself is really kind of lame. But I would argue that one of the best cemented moments in all of One Piece is the final moment of the arc, in which Chopper looks up and sees the petals that fucking Hero Luke worked for years, 30 years, trying to make happen.
I love with that scene. I knew that was going, because it's supposed to be this moment of just like, oh, what's she doing? Why is she setting up all the cannons like that? That's just weird. And I'm like, I know what she's gonna do. I know what she's gonna do, but I'm still gonna cry. I literally said that. I'm like, I know what she's doing. I'm still gonna cry though. I'm still gonna fucking cry, and I know I will.
That is actually really nice, admittedly, watching you and Diego kind of go through the series and react and stuff. Because for me, it's like, this is all old. This is 15 years old for me.
But this is new.
Yeah.
This is new to us.
So, that being said, let's cut into the next arc real quick. And that is Alabasta. Now, mind you, you guys have not gotten too far into Alabasta, so we won't go too into it. But this arc is one of the bigger arcs that kind of cements a certain style of adventure that Oda continues from that point on, where arcs, instead of being something like Little Garden, which is a relatively short arc, or something like Logetown or even Laboon, this arc is about like 60 episodes. It goes on for like a full year, or even like maybe it goes on for 40, but it feels pretty fucking long. But it is a big arc
comparatively.
Where a lot happens.
Yeah, because comparatively, like, yeah, so like the main kind of beginning, like, because there's hints of it, like, especially like when they're in Little Garden and stuff like that, they like, because they're dealing with like the agents and stuff like that, like, and they have been for like a little bit before that point, but yeah, the beginning of Alabasta, like the Alabasta arc though, is just like the somewhat proper introduction of Crocodile. And the designs that Oda has are just great. Like, I just want to say that real quick. It's like, how do you make characters look so simplistic yet just cool looking at the same time? And I wish I had that ability, but I do not. It's like, his characters are so goofy looking yet so cool, and it's just like, I wish I had that.
Cool dorks.
It's like, ugh.
Go cool dorks, god damn it.
Yeah, they are, cause then you have like Bon Clay as well, and it's just like, he's a big old fucking goofball, but I'm just like, immediately I'm just like, I dig this character. He looks fucking weird, but who cares? It's One Piece. Everyone looks fucking weird. So it's like, in comparison, it's just like, whatever. But just the immediate just like fun dynamic between just the crew and Bon Clay was great, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see you later. I'm excited, scared, but excited.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we haven't gotten too far in the Alabasta arc because, fuck, elephant in the room, fucking Ace. Because the whole reason that Alabasta takes so long in the anime is because of Ace.
So there's this problem in the anime, right? We're gonna talk about the elephant in the room. Ace shows up. Ace shows up in the manga too. Ace stops Smoker from chasing after Luffy. Ace in the manga says, "All right, take care of my kid brother," and bails. Ace in the anime sticks around.
To be fair, though, Ace is fucking solid, though.
Oh, dude. Okay. Solid. Design-wise, just Ace. That's the thing, because I knew what Ace looked like, but I'm like, it's like, yeah, he's kind of cool. But, you know, a One Piece in One Piece fashion, it's just like, oh, you're cool, and a good brother, and just a decent person all around. And how you use your abilities is dope as hell. Fuck!
And you're really smart, and you're really kind, and you're really good at a lot of things.
It's just like, okay. Alright. And you're just as stupid and goofy as, like, your younger brother. A bit more mature, but for the most part, just as goofy. Shit! And the fact that he's voiced by, in the Funimation dub by, Travis Willingham.
It's Travis Willingham, that helps a little bit. Roy Mustang puffing in.
Roy Mustang at it again. Fucking him and his flame boys.
God
his
damn.
anime flame boys.
Oh my god. There's a certain scene I do want to watch in the dub now. I wanna watch just because it is Armstrong.
Oh.
So.
Of course. He was gonna pop up eventually.
But anyways, that being said,
yeah.
So this is the last arc we can actually talk to you about, because this is the last arc this is the arc that you are currently on.
I'm currently on this one.
What are you excited to see? What are you excited to see?
I'm excited to see fucking Luffy and Crocodile fight. I don't know if I'm gonna see that in Alabasta, but if that happens, I'm hype as hell. Cause I'm like, what does sand do to a rubber man?
We'll find out.
That's like my ultimate question. I'm just like, what does sand do to a rubber?
So we will find out, and when you get there, we will update the next Mitch's Minute, and we will talk about where you are in the world of One Piece.
Also, the factor that just conveniently Sanji just doesn't interact with any of the agents.
Oh yeah.
Conveniently.
Very convenient.
Very, very convenient, because he wasn't there to fucking meet Bon Clay. Like, and so he doesn't have his face.
That's right.
So yep.
All right.
Yeah, me over analyzing shit? Probably.
So
will it come into play later?
Maybe. Who knows? So we will come back, let's say a couple weeks from now, and we will ask you how Alabasta's going.
And then it's just gonna be me crying, probably.
The episode begins with you just sobbing, and we're like, "Hey, welcome to another Mitch's Minute." It's gonna be at like a weird time. It's gonna be like at 2:00 in the morning, because you'll just have finished it.
So we need to talk about this right now.
So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about where Amanda currently is at in One Piece. Amanda's been skipping around a bit and jumping around a bit.
I have been all the fuck over fucking One Piece for a while now.
But you had asked, or I had suggested that because you knew the stuff with Alabasta, because you knew essentially what happened, everything before that, we are currently in Punk Hazard. So that was the last time that we had decided to skip a lot of One Piece, kind of get to part 2, because I was in the mood to watch it, and I said, fuck it, why not? Let's just, fuck it, you might get a kick out of this. And we finished the Fishman Island arc, we watched Punk Hazard, and then halfway through Punk Hazard, we started watching it with tabs, and so we stopped at episode 600. We rewound the clock back to 240, and we are currently in Water 7. Water 7 is, without giving too much away, is an arc in which a lot of background stuff happens for a lot of characters, and there's a lot of tension with some of that crew. So without obviously spoiling it for Nate, who has yet to get to Water 7, let's talk a little bit about the setting of Water 7 that's very clearly inspired off of the city of Venice. Venice is obviously, for those at home who don't know, is the city where you have the gondolas, you have all the, it's the sinking city, essentially.
Yeah, the city with all the water in the streets.
And it's very heavily inspired by it. This island is where shipwrights come, or essentially where they build a ton of ships for the Grand Line. But I'm gonna stop rambling, because if I continue rambling, I will spoil shit. Amanda, how are you liking Water 7? I had to. By the way,
I could just deafen myself for like a hot minute.
No. It's no. It's fine.
You're all right. Without spoiling anything, I am enjoying Water 7 quite a bit. It is correct that I have been skipping around a lot. As a kid, I watched the 4Kids version of One Piece. So I pretty much knew what was going on, but then we went back, I watched the compilation film, so I'm pretty much good. The compilation films being the first several arcs of One Piece. So I know about the characters, I know what's going on, but 4Kids doesn't go into the later arcs, because as it got more and more violent, 4Kids started cutting more and more and more. So certain characters I've never seen or met before. Brooke, Frankie, and Robin are characters that I just wasn't super well versed with, because their arcs tended to be incredibly violent. So had no idea. Because I have seen the 4Kids stuff, and where Nico Robin is supposed to pop in, they just cut out that entire arc altogether, so there is no point in seeing her. I never seen a fucking crew member. They cut her out entirely, and then they cut out another one, thinking that they wouldn't appear. So I was interested in going back and watching Water 7, where we meet Frankie, who is fucking amazing. I love him so much. And we get to know what the fuck is going on with Nico Robin. And I'm just so excited about them. I'm having such a good time. A lot of stuff is popping up that I had no idea about. And either that's just through the fact that I didn't see it, or I got incorrect information as a kid. But I'm excited to see all of it now. And I even asked Mitch if after Water 7, if we could watch Thriller Bark, where Brooke shows up, because I love Brooke. And also, Thriller Bark is an entire arc of One Piece that's dedicated to a spooky aesthetic, and that is my shit. I am that bitch. Hello, yes. So I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to it a lot, and I love Frankie so much.
Dude, I'm so excited to keep this meeting all of the crew.
Water 7 is just really bopping, because go ahead.
I'm so excited. I know I don't sound excited, but I am. I'm excited, but I'm scared, because it's just like after Chopper, I'm like, I trust nothing.
We just finished Frankie's backstory.
Oh God.
And Amanda, and without giving too much away, once again, Amanda, how did you enjoy that?
So, without spoiling anything, there are characters who show up at the beginning of his arc, at the beginning of Water 7, in which you're like, huh, they're weird characters. Oh well. That keep popping up throughout all of Water 7, and you're like, alright, that's pretty par for the course. But by the end of it, you're like, oh, they knew Frankie. Oh, this is so sad.
Oh, good.
Because as Frankie goes, you get to see him when he's like a little kid. All the way up until he's in his 30s. There's a huge arc where you get to watch him go from like a small baby to a fucking grown ass man, and it's so sad. And there was a part that I had asked you about, Mitch. Huh?
One Piece needs to stop having like just every backstory.
I hate telling you this, but everyone has sad kid stories.
Everyone has bad. Very sad backstory.
Every character except for Brooke.
Much more. Except for Brooke, I assume.
Brooke is the only one whose sad story happens when they're in their like 30s.
Oh, good.
They all have sad stories, Nate. Brooke is a living skeleton. How did you think his story was gonna turn out? Pretty fucking solid.
Cursed. I don't know.
Yeah, it's called the devil fruit.
So that being said, we will continue to talk about water stuff. So once again, we will come back at a later date and we'll ask you how, because you're almost done with Water 7, so that heads into Ennie's lobby, and we'll talk about Ennie's lobby at a later date. So now I'm gonna go ahead and ramble for a little bit because I have been reading the manga.
Yep.
And
make me feel sad and put up the fucking image of Sanji crying from the manga that you had to show me. I started crying at work, and then everyone at work questioned why I was getting upset.
Do it.
I wish I was joking.
All right. Hey, I didn't have that image ready, but let me go find it, I guess.
Do we have any of these images ready?
No, I wasn't expecting to show that specific image. I had everything else ready.
Fucking.
All right, I'm getting it. I'm getting it now.
I just assume that's what you're gonna use.
While you're getting it, I'm just gonna keep talking about it. Fucking Water 7 is really solid. It's such a good arc. A bunch of shit goes down. A lot of really cool shit happens. I love Frankie so much. I'm learning to love Nico, Robin. I'm getting there. Usopp, you're fucking there, my guy.
Okay, all right. So I read the whole island or the whole cake arc, and this is the image I sent Nate.
No context, but Oda is so good. And then I just sent the fucking Zoro bra face, and I'm like, why you gotta do this to me?
So the thing that I absolutely love about Oda in all this time, in 20 years of storytelling, is he's still able to get me to cry like a bitch. He's still, after all this time, he can make you love a character and just feel horrible. Let's talk about the whole Cake Island arc. We're not going to talk about too much into specifics. I'm just going to put up this image and I'm going to just express how I felt about the arc without going super into detail about it. This arc, I had a hard time with Dressrosa, which was the previous arc, two arcs before this one, because there's a little mini arc called the Zoe arc, and that one's pretty fun. It introduces minks as a race of characters in the world of One Piece, where they are they're literal furry people. They are anthropomorphic animal people, and they're really cool. I really like them. It's probably one of the best racially done like groups in One Piece, next to like the giants and stuff like that. But in this arc, we get to encounter one of the four emperors, Big Mom. It is a fantastic arc all throughout. There's so much happening. They play around a little bit with the main cast. So in other words, in this arc, we don't have everyone. Nico Robin, Frankie, Usopp, and Zoro are missing during this arc. And this arc took 3 years to do.
Oh no.
So
I'm waiting for Diego to be yelling in chat.
There is 3 years without Nico Robin, without Frankie, without Usopp, and without Zoro, and they kind of it is felt, but at the same time, it was nice to kind of have the arc be fixated on a smaller group again. So you had Luffy, Sanji, Nami, Chopper, Brook, and Jinbei. And those characters, like those Straw Hats, are really, really solid. They're solid characters all around. And because you had a smaller group of characters, it was also kind of easier to. Most of the time in One Piece, you have like characters split up into different groups in different groups doing different things. But in this arc, it was easier to kind of figure out exactly what's going on. Like, not that I'm saying that there's a problem where it's like, oh, well, what's Zoro up to? Or, oh, what's Frankie doing? It's more like, it was just kind of fun.
To know, that's like 3 years of fucking material that Diego's never going to read.
He's like, Zoro's not in it, not important. He's just gonna throw it away.
So mind you, and I, as I was reading this, because I was catching up, I thought to myself, oh, they're gonna show them, right? They don't. For 3 years, they are gone. But I was so engrossed. So kind of general broad strokes.
I feel about that.
Well, I think it works. I think it super works. And the reasoning for them splitting up is a really good reason. And I think, like, I can't go into it, obviously, but the reason why they split up is it the reason why they split up is very good. And I think that Luffy kind of chasing after one of the four emperors and all that stuff is a fun story. And this whole arc was so emotional and so wonderfully built. This was Sanji's real time to shine as a character. This was, you know, like really testing the limits. And they tried in Water 7, they also test the limits of the crew a bit, but this one really punched hard. I remember hearing about this arc. I didn't, because at the time I was out of One Piece. I didn't, it wasn't in the forefront. I was still like a casual fan of it. I still bought games every now and then, but like I was a casual fan, and hearing what was going on in this arc, I was like, okay, well, and I didn't really have that much interest. I kind of, around this time, I was also kind of cynical with manga and anime. I wasn't really into Big Mom and all that stuff, but reading it is such a grandiose kind of situation. The stakes are high. There's so much being revealed. There's so much. A backstory gets kind of retcon, which normally when you hear retcon, it's in a negative connotation. But I would argue that retconning in this case really worked to its favor. It really solidified that character, and it really made it work. And if anything, I would say it strengthened that specific story. So all that's being said, this arc was fucking awesome from beginning to end, and there were so many wonderful moments. There were so many great kind of like characters I didn't think I'd like Capone Beige or Beige Capone. I don't know, I can't remember the order it goes in, but he's the guy in the suit who is literally just Al Capone. He's a mobster pirate. It's very funny, but he's weirdly like a great character in this. Like he's really like, his gimmick is that he purposely makes rivals because he loves rivalry and he loves conflict and he loves that. He's like, oh, thank God someone wants to kill me. like and it's like, what? Why? but that's why he's the Godfather pirate, because he's like, oh man, if I could just kill someone that's higher than me and make everyone else hate me, and I get all that. Like, from his perspective, it's like, I raise up in my rank, I get a bigger bounty, I get a better ship, I get all sorts of money, and people have to trust me. And it's like, oh, okay, Beige, okay, dude, like you do you, bro. But he's so stupidly powerful because he's part of the same generation that Luffy and the others are, the Supernovas, which are a group of captains, like 9 captains that are considered like super heavy, powerful people. And like, I didn't like him the first time I saw him. I thought his design was stupid, and that's stupid in One Piece. I thought his design was horrendous. And then like, I really grew to love the character. Like throughout the arc, I was like, oh, like he might be a horrible piece of shit monster man, but he at least cares about his wife and child. Like, you know, and I'm like, oh,
he's a fucking asshole, but you know,
like
he loves them.
He genuinely, like, yeah, he's a mobster. He's a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy. And
talking about Spider for a second.
like there's just so much cool stuff that happened in this arc. There's so many weird things. Like, you could see the faces on the cloud and the big puff of fire, and obviously the magic carpet over there in the corner. Like, there's so much. It's so weird. It's all bizarre, but like reading it, like finally getting through it, like it was so nice. It was so like, it was such a great arc to come back to, and like watching watching these characters go through everything that they go through is always just a great time. And which leads me to the final topic of the night. Finally, I know for some of you it's been 2 full hours.
Who cares? We're talking about anime because this is like all we do.
Which is the final.
Can I just be concerned for like a fraction of a second? So if y'all haven't guessed, Sanji's my favorite character, and the factor that there's like a panel of him just crying in the rain, it's upsetting to me.
Well, you will love this arc then.
Yay!
It's not an arc for Diego and I, because where is our good boy?
Well, but you'll meet Pedro. Pedro's the guy with the saber in the back. He's awesome. There's like Brooke has a really solid moment too. Like there's tons of really great moments in that arc. That being said, when you do see Frankie, Nico Robin, Zoro, and Usopp again, welcome to magical land of Wano. Fucking fantasy Japan in One Piece. And that is the current arc I'm on. And these motherfuckers, Zoro is they're all dressed as like samurai and woodcutters and stuff. And like you meet like go ahead.
Oh no, it's just like, so like all of the other characters aren't with them there. But why have I seen like all of the characters designed that way?
Because they will get there.
That's where they rejoin.
That's where they're all meeting in Wano. So while the whole cake arc is a series of islands that are owned by Big Mom, Wano is an island, a huge monstrous island that's owned that is under the rule of an evil shogun that is that he's being controlled by the great King Emperor of the fucking Beast Tribe fucking pirates, Kaido. Turn into a giant mythical fucking dragon. It is fucking metal as shit. And in fantasy Japan land, you meet back up with Frankie, Nico Robin, Usopp, and Zoro, who are also getting into weird fucking hijinks because of course they are.
Of course they are.
Because the first time you see Zoro coming back, he's being accused of a crime, and he's like, all right, you are being accused of a crime, asshole. And he's like, am I? And he's like, yeah. Kill yourself. What? Kill yourself. This blade doesn't have a hilt. Yeah, it's not supposed to. Kill yourself. You committed a crime. You're a dishonorable samurai. He's like, do I have to? And he's like, oh, yes. And he's like, okay. He takes the blade, and then he's like, oh, wait, no, I don't think I should kill myself. I think you should die. What? and he's like, yeah, I think you're the murderer. And then he kills him. So like great start. The first episode of this arc is full like Frankie is pretending to be a like he's working underneath like a foreman, and he's like, Frankie, you're doing a great job. And he's like, of course yeah, thank you. like
it's like a fucking course I am, you fucking idiot.
Usopp's go ahead.
Oh no, it's just like, oh wait, I'm supposed to be nice. You're like my boss.
And like Usopp is it's a toad salesman, not toad salesman. He's a Toad's oil salesman. So he's like selling elixirs and stuff, and he has like a stupid fake white beard. Like it's so up. And, like the whole cake arc was really great because it was really dramatic. There's a wedding they have to stop, and they have to escape from fucking the Big Mom because she's the Emperor of the Sea, and there's all sorts of crazy nonsensical bullshit that happens in the whole cake arc. But then
stopping a wedding from like a super powerful person. What does that sound like?
The Incredibles. No, I don't know what you're going further with that.
I was going with FF10.
Okay. No, so that was really good. Don't get me wrong. And watching all that happen was really fun. And watching Big Mom's like 34 children get ready to fight was so cool. But Wano feels back to it's like now we're back on the fucking seas. We're having a great adventure. And now we're in this land of samurai, and like Luffy, like I don't want to talk about it obviously too much, but it's very exciting to be in Wano because we've heard about Wano for 10 years now. For 10 years, we've heard about Wano. We've heard that it's the land of samurai. And it's even referenced all the way back in Thriller Bark. That's how far back Wano has gone.
Jesus.
And we're finally here. And like Zoro like fights other people with a hiltless blade that he was supposed to perform harakiri with. There's a moment where Luffy fights a sumo that is ridiculously big because he's kind of being a dick. Like, there's so much dumb, goofy shit that's happening in Wano, and it is so delightful and fun that I am so happy that, like, I'm finally here in One Piece. And I do want to watch the anime on Crunchyroll. And I gotta figure out, there's like ads that play, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with the ads. I gotta figure out how to deal with that. But anyways, the point is that Wano was worth it. Getting to this point has been worth it. Going on this adventure. Huh?
It looks so fucking pretty.
Oh, dude, it is. Well, also because the anime changed its art style. The art style is now more reminiscent of the manga than it is back then. Like, because the manga has gone through, or not the manga, but the anime has gone through art style changes every now and then to kind of reflect, what's up. And this is probably going to be the final art style change for the series going forward because there's only 5 more years of the manga left. So the art style is beautiful. I have seen clips of the anime. It looks fucking great. It's really great. And I can't emphasize enough how I know we've been talking about One Piece this whole time, and I know that, like, for those at home one, if you have not been interested in One Piece this whole time, one, I apologize, but two, we warned you. I can't feel.
We warned you. They were really big fans of this.
I'm having such a great time with Wano and having these characters kind of come up again, and the stories that are being told in Wano are great. Watching Luffy in a sumo match with a big, stupidly huge sumo, and like he almost falls out of the ring, and he's like waving his arms around. He's like, no, like fucking, it's stupid. It's so silly.
We get the return clearly of Fat Luffy, and that's always a treat to see.
So this is the worst part. Fat Luffy hasn't shown up in Wano. Fat Luffy was in Whole Cake. Like,
God damn it! He's fighting a sumo. The one time it would seem fitting. I know it, like, I shouldn't phrase it that way, but Fat Luffy is the funniest fucking thing.
Oh, dude.
Just the strut he has, and the fact that he's just a literal fucking balloon just walking around.
Oh, watch him go from Fat Luffy to like shrink down because apparently his metabolism is so intense that like he just like slowly deflates. Oh, so good. But yes.
Well, same with fucking Ace too, and Ace is jacked as well.
Oh yeah, Ace has like fucking abs.
Yeah.
Oh god. Anyways, that being said, I kind of want to end this section of today's Mitch's Minute by just saying this: One Piece is a series I keep going back to. After all this time, after every little thing in my life, I keep going back to the series, and there's something genuinely beautiful about being able to kind of come back to a series where the characters are still on the same stupid, goofy adventure that they've always been on, and it feels active and creative. I mean, look at this design for like a place in One Piece. Like, by no means should that work, but it's fun. And watching these characters do all this stupid fun shit they always have been up to is genuinely enjoyable. It is great. It is great to see these characters continue their silly adventure. And hearing that it's going to end in 5 years, I know it's 5 years from now. But I got really sad because I realized that the end is coming. And 10 years ago, when Oda had originally said that the series will end in 10 years, I got really sad knowing that the series was going to come to an end. But all good things.
You want this just stupid pirate adventure, like D&D campaign, to just go on forever.
Exactly.
That's the best way to fucking explain this shit.
That's right.
Oh god.
It's
I'm not prepared for near deaths. I'm not prepared for that. Like, because it's gonna pop up eventually that one of the characters are going to be very close to death, and I'm not gonna be ready for it. I don't know who it's gonna be, and I'm worried. It's a real ass concern. I'm like, no one's died in nearly 1,000 episodes. But by God, is there going to be a lot of near deaths? And I'm not here for it.
Oh man.
Oh.
Anyways, guys, thank you all for listening to us ramble about One Piece. My final thought on the matter is, in these times of crisis, you remember at the very beginning of the podcast we were talking about all the horrid shit that's been happening in 2020. It has been fucking nightmare hellscape that we cannot escape from. Having something, even if you don't like One Piece, having something that you can come back to that is just chock full of fun and adventure, something you come back to that you like, something that you come back to, whether that's One Piece or whether that's Final Fantasy 14 or whether that's a game you really like or whether that's a movie series that you just enjoy rewatching over and over again. Really enjoy yourself. Really have fun. Have that moment to relax. The world might be falling apart around us. There might be fucking horrible shit, especially in the next couple months if you live in the States. This is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And that is one of the worst things that I have to think about sometimes. So, do yourself a favor. If you haven't checked out One Piece, give it a shot. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But find something that you can just come back to, something that you enjoy, something that like you'll have that fun moment with, and just sit back, relax, drink a favorite drink of yours, eat a meal that you really enjoy, because this year has kicked the ever-loving shit out of us, and you can hear it from us. I can't imagine what it's like for you guys. But make sure you take care of yourselves. Make sure that you're doing something that you enjoy. Don't do things you don't like at this point in time. We're almost done. 2020 cannot defeat us any more than it already has, which I know is just asking for a horrible, horrible mesh of bad things to happen. Because even as we speak, my phone has been blowing up with horrible shit that has been happening.
Yeah.
So remember in all of this to take a step back, read a book, watch an anime, play a game. Take your mind off of the fucking nonsense that's been happening around us and just enjoy life for once. I know it doesn't feel like we can, but just try, man. With that, we will end today's Mitch's Minute. Thank you all so much for watching another episode. Thank you for indulging us on our One Piece extravaganza.
You saying all of that, I started crying because I was just looking at Luffy's just dumb smile, and I'm like, "Yep, that's what helps me through."
Yeah, the sad "We Are" song starts playing. So I know it was a long episode, so we are gonna go ahead and real quick and say check out Spy X Family. That is a good feel-good series.
It's so good.
Nate would either maybe not Code Geass, maybe don't watch Code Geass, but
maybe if you want feel-good stuff, honestly I would say like Great Pretender. It's so kind of like bubbly and just really energetic, and it does get you kind of pumped up, and it's real fun, and I feel like it did help. So
yeah. Amanda, what about you?
Honestly, yeah, fucking read it. Spy X Family. Do that shit. And if you see a fucking manga series or an anime series and you're just like, that's so fucking long though, just do it. Just get started.
Don't
get started. No one is forcing you to fucking go the fucking full distance all at once. It's 2020.
Especially One Piece.
Fucking what else are you doing?
Fuck it. Just do the thing. Just in general. Just do whatever the fuck you want to do. And if that's like finally watching an anime that you've always wanted to watch, reading a manga you always wanted to read, just fucking whatever.
Fucking
do it.
But absolutely read Spy X Family. That is the cutest shit I've ever fucking seen.
That is the cutest motherfucking shit I've ever seen.
And it makes me angry every day that it does not have as much going on as fucking One Piece, because I would read 900 fucking chapters of fucking Spy X Family.
Oh, same. Abso-fucking-lutely.
So get people's attention on that shit. I would love that. Please do that.
Make it more popular so it's weekly instead of bi-weekly for Amanda's sake.
Please. For my sake, before I just harass the piss out of these two with, why the fuck is it taking so long? Because it's supposed to update. Update now, you bitch. You updated on my birthday. I remember that shit. Update now.
Just real fucking hype, man. Just real hype.
Man.
You did this.
You did this. Yeah, blame Mitch. Let's do that. Blame Mitch for everything that we're doing right now.
That's right. Yeah.
For One Piece, Spy X Family. Blame Mitch.
All right. And obviously for me, you guys know my big fucking recommendation. Go check out One Piece. It is. I know. I also don't let other people fucking tell you about how to enjoy that series. I know that with Diego specifically, he was like, I think he was only a couple episodes in, but like someone had given him shit for watching the anime instead. Fuck those people. A series is good even if it's anime or manga. However you consume it is how you consume it, and fuck everyone else, man. So yeah, dude.
Everyone, you do you, and that's just what you should do. Cause fuck this year.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, and I know this is gonna probably be a little upsetting for my Final Fantasy X fans. I'm gonna push back Final Fantasy X just a little bit longer, and next week I want to come back with old series that I think if you watch today, I think like some feel good shows. I think that I needed to do Mitch's Minute today. And I think that I hope for some of you, maybe you felt the need to maybe listen to us ramble about shit. I'm going to rename this Mitch's Mega Minute a One Piece edition because we talked for like a full hour. I could go on for fucking ever about One Piece. I fucking love that shit.
I feel like all of us could. I can talk about my love-hate relationship with Sanji.
We should do that. We should do that sometime. I think
like an hour.
I think we could talk about specifically Sanji for like a while. But the point is that I think next week, let's come back with some older series that we've checked out, some feel-good stuff. Maybe things that like that we think that, and not specifically like, not anything like, like, oh, well, it has to be happy all the time or something like that. Or maybe we can come back with series that I think are really fulfilling, something that makes you really, really like come back and like, oh, like this was a great watch, like something like that. Maybe not something like, I don't know, Shiki. I wasn't too keen on Shiki. I don't know why I finished that one. But anyways, we'll catch it. We'll catch y'all next week.
Yeah. Catch you guys later.